The NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series race is officially concluded from Lime Rock Park, and Corey Heim nearly leads flag to flag and dominates and wins at Lime Rock. What's going on, guys? It's Daniel, and welcome back to our video. I just got done watching the 2025 Lee Ueno 150 from Lime Rock Park. We had quite a bit to talk about from this race, so let's go and talk about. So for the green flag drop in today's race, was he simply have to go to the rear as he was in a backup truck. At the start of the race, he had Corey Heim lead the field from the inside and Jordan Taylor on the outside, and Corey Heim got a fantastic start and was able to clear for the race lead. And from this point on, Corey Heim would flat out dominate. A couple drivers would have trouble. Tanner Gray would get off the track a little bit going into turn number 1, but was able to keep it going. Then on lap number 15, Spencer Boyd spun in turn number 2, got stuck in the grass for a second because he had a flat tire, but was able to limp that truck back down pit road. But Corey Heim continued dominating, had a near 5-second lead by lap number 22 of this race, was catching the tail end of the field, continued dominating, and coming off the corner, Corey Heim would continue his domination and win stage number 1, followed by Lane Riggs, Jordan Taylor, Brent Cruz, and Connor Mosack. Now, they did not have competitive pit stops this weekend at Lime Rock Park because all of the teams were at the racetrack, which we'll talk about here in just a second, but they had non-competitive pit stops. So then on the restart, you had Corey Heim lead the field from the inside with Lane Riggs on the outside, and Corey Heim got a fantastic restart and was able to clear for the race lead. Meanwhile, Brent Cruz got pushed off the racetrack and got into the grass a little bit after getting pushed off the track and would drop all the way back from 4th position all the way back to 11th in the field and would never be a major factor throughout the rest of the event. Meanwhile, Corey Heim continued dominating this race in the middle portion of the event. By lap number 53, had a near 4.1 second lead and was starting to charge away from the field, and he continued pulling away. He had a 5.8 second lead and continued dominating, and coming off the final corner, Corey Heim continues his dominating clinic and wins stage number 2, followed by Lane Riggs, Jordan Taylor, Connor Mosack, and Chandler Smith. And then once again, all the lap trucks have then come down pit road for the modified non-competitive pit stops for the next 3 minutes. Then, meanwhile, as they were about to go back green in the race, someone apparently had dropped fluid on the racetrack. Fox never mentioned who dropped fluid on the racetrack, which I didn't understand. We'll talk about Fox coverage here near the end of this race review. But someone dropped fluid on the racetrack, and they needed to clean it up. And then on the restart, Corey Heim lead the field from the inside with Lane Riggs on the outside, and Corey Heim got a fantastic restart and was able to clear for the lead. Meanwhile, Matt Crafton going in turn number 2, he would go off course and go off the racetrack in turn number 1, but was able to keep it going, but then he would come down pit road a couple laps later. Meanwhile, apparently Jordan Taylor went off the track for a second and lost a couple positions and would drop back to 5th position. So at this moment in point, we were seeing Corey Heim continue his domination and was starting to pull away from the field. Meanwhile, then on lap 87, Dawson Sutter was slow on the racetrack and displayed smoke on the back of his truck as he had lost the tread of the tire, but was able to get it back to pit road. But everything would change, technically, with around 11 laps to go in the event when Matt Mills got off course in turn number 1 and got stalled going into the turn number 1 area. It seemed like he had some sort of brake issue, we're not really sure, but he broke into the corner and nearly crashed into the wall. Because he couldn't get the truck refired, the caution would come out. And then on the final restart of the event, you had Corey Heim lead the field from the inside and Lane Riggs on the outside. And Lane Riggs actually got a really good restart and nearly got by Corey Heim going into turn number 1. But then Lane Riggs went too wide going turn number 1. This would cause a massive chain reaction. Jordan Taylor would end up getting turned by somebody, and Rod Scroof also would get turned. Jack Wood would end up spinning, and a bunch of guys ended up crashing up there. Meanwhile, after all this chaos had happened, Corey Heim would have the lead over Ty Majeski and Jerry Rozier all of a sudden. Guys that have been running around 10th to 15th most of the day, they were all of a sudden up in the front and in 2nd and 3rd position. And you're wondering, are they going to have an opportunity to catch Corey Heim and pick up the win and pick up the victory? Well, no. Corey Heim would continue his flat-out domination at this point, continue leading every single lap of this race except one, and he would come off the corner on the white flag, had a near 1.4, 1.5 second lead, and coming out the final corner, Corey Heim puts up an absolute dominating clinic and picks up his 5th Truck Series win of 2025, leads 99 of the 100 laps, and scores his 16th career NASCAR Truck Series win. Corey Heim absolutely dominated this race. He led all but one lap. Technically, he led every single lap, but because Lane Riggs got a little bit of a better restart and got across the start-finish line because of a good restart, he was credited with leading one lap. But this was an absolute masterclass from Corey Heim. I thought Heim was going to have a really good chance going into the weekend to win, but I did not expect Corey Heim to dominate this way. I don't know what it's going to take at this point, but Corey Heim needs to be moving up to the NASCAR Cup Series at this point because he does not need to be in the Truck Series anymore. He should either be full-time in the NASCAR NASCAR Xfinity Series right now or moving up to the NASCAR Cup Series. Because in my opinion, Corey Heim has been doing really, really good, been super, super impressive in trucks, the fastest guy every single week, and he puts on a dominant clinic. Nothing happened to him to screw him out of a win. He absolutely earned this win. Congratulations, Corey Heim, on dominating and winning his 5th truck race of the season. So now we'll go ahead and take a look at the race results. I'll give my score and thoughts on today's race. So Corey Heim picks up the win. Ty Majeski finished second. He ran around 8th to 10th most of the day, but he survived the last race wrecks that happened at the end of the event to get himself a top 5 run. A great run for Ty Majeski. He needed to have a really, really good run, and he did have a fantastic run today at the end of the day. So a good top 5 finish. Gio Ruggiero finished 3rd. Ran around 12th to 15th most of the day, but got through the big wreck on the last restart and gets a solid top 5 finish in 3rd. Great run for Gio. I think that win's going to come before the end of this year with the speed he's been showing. Solid day for him. He finished 3rd. Ben Rhodes finished 4th. Was a non-factor all day. He jumped up from 16th to 4th on the final restart. He ran around 16th to 20th all day long, but he survived the carnage on the final restart and gets himself a solid top 5 finish. Good recovery day for Ben Rhodes. Cam Waters finished 5th. Cam Waters is one of the few people that I noticed that actually could make passes in the middle of the pack. He had a decent run going. It was just so difficult to pass that Cam never really had a chance to get up there and contend. But a solid top 5 for Cam. To finish in the top 5 in your first start at Lime Rock, that's really, really good. Good to see Cam Waters finish in the top 5. Great finish for him. Thought he'd be a factor. Wasn't a big factor for the win, but a solid top 5 nonetheless for Cam Waters. Chandler Smith finished 6th. He ran around 5th to 6th most of the day. Had some really good speed. He's definitely improved a lot on road courses especially. So a solid top 10 run for Chandler. Good day for him. He finished 6th. Josh Blicky finished 7th. Came down pit road in the second to last restart and comes home with a really strong top 10 finish. I thought Blicky would be a little bit more a factor for the win. Never really had the pace speed to contend, but he had top 15 speed a lot of the day. Decent run for him. He finished 7th. Brent Cruz finished 8th. I picked Brent Cruz going into this race because I really thought Brent Cruz was going to be a major factor for the win. And Brent never really had it today to go for the victory. He was up to 3rd or 4th, but then he got shoved off the racetrack, which again, Fox never really mentioned at this point. But he had a really, really decent run, was charging his way back up there. So difficult to pass that if you lost any track position, you were likely not going to get back up there. A decent finish, but it definitely could have been better. He finished his 8th. Daniel Hemrick finished 9th. He struggled most of the day, but he gets a solid top 10 finish in 9th. Not a bad day for him. And Tyler Anker finishes in 10th. Not a bad run for him. Grant Enfinger finished 11th, ran around 11th to 10th most of the day. Had a decent run overall, gets a top 15 finish. Caden Honeycutt finished 12th, lost some track position on the final restart. Caden legit was really impressive, ran top 5 most of this race, but got caught up in one of the late race restart crashes. I got a little damage in that. He finished in 12th. Lane Riggs finished 13th. Lane Riggs is the only one at any point in this race that could keep up with Corey Heim, and I don't think he really had anything for Corey Heim in this race. And then he funneled it and messed up on that final run. Tough break for Lane because I think he had a truck capable of winning, but he just made that mistake, and it cost him a chance and opportunity to go for the win in victory instead of maybe going and winning. He finishes in 13th. Tough break for Lane Riggs. Tanner Gray finished 14th. Thomas News, he had to finish 15th. He ran better than 15th. He had a top 10 truck most of the day. Ran around 8th or 9th, was slowly moving his way through the field. Didn't have the pace and speed to contend for the overall victory, but he does get a top 15. Connor Mosak finished 16th. He went off course near the end. He was up to 3rd place, and I think he had one of his best runs going he's ever had in truck competition, but unfortunately went off course, got some damage on the last run. He finished in 16th. Andres Perez finished 17th. A little disappointing considering the speed that he showed in practice yesterday. Not the best run for him. He finished 17th. Ben Mayer finished 18th. Not a bad run for the Driver 02 truck. He ran top 20 most of the day. Showed some pretty good speed. Matt Crafton finished 19th, and Jordan Taylor finished 20th. Want to give a shout out to Jordan Taylor. Jordan Taylor was probably the 3rd best truck. I don't think he was as good as Lane Riggs or Corey Heim, but he deserved a much better finish. He was one of the guys that unfortunately got caught up in that last wreck and that last incident that cost him a shot at a potential win. He probably should have gotten a much better finish than he did, but unfortunately nothing to show for it after a really impressive run today. Not enough to go to victory lane, but a great run nonetheless. He finished 20th. Well, a great run till the end, but he had a good run, all things considered. He finished 20th. Raj Crew finished 21st. He ran a lot better most of the day. He ran in the top 10 pretty much the whole entire race. Had a fantastic truck all day long. Showed some really good pace and speed, but got caught up in one of the late race wrecks. He finished 21st. Jack Wood finished 22nd. Stuart Friesen finished 23rd. Jay Garcia finished 24th. Not a good day for him, to be fair, though Haley Deegan wasn't that good at road courses anyways. Timmy Hill finished 25th. Matt Mills finished 26th. William Lambros finished 27th. Frankie Muniz finished 28th. Tony Breidinger struggled all day. She finished 29th. Dawson Sutton, who had issues near the end of the race, he finished 30th. Spencer Boyd finished 31st. Dale Quarterley finished 32nd. Wesley Slim finished 33rd. And Alex Abay finished last in 34th. So now, let's talk about the overall race as a whole and give my score and thoughts on today's race. I'm going to be honest. This was one of the most boring races I have seen as a NASCAR fan. I have watched over 1,000 races dating back to 2007. And I've watched a lot of old races as well as a NASCAR fan. This is one of the most boring races I have ever seen. There was barely any passing throughout the event. You couldn't really make any moves on anybody in front of you. And the only time you can make any passes were on restarts. Very few passes throughout the field. Not a lot of passing zones and a lot of passing opportunities. And generally the Truck Series, in my opinion, they don't put on the best road course product if you ask me. Kind of something with the next-gen car, very similar to that. I don't think the Truck Series should have been here this weekend. Honestly, I think the Truck Series should have been at Atlanta Motor Speedway this weekend while the Xfinity Series was racing at Lime Rock, because I think the Xfinity Series would have put on an unbelievable show if they were at the track, because I just think this race was really, really boring and really, really bad. And it's not because Corey Heim dominated and nearly led every lap. Corey Heim had the best truck in the field. But it's because everybody literally just couldn't pass. And there was not much passing at all. And it was just one of the most boring races I've ever seen. I don't know what the future of Lime Rock is, because I would love to see this track back on the schedule in the future. But honestly, I don't want to see the Truck Series back here anymore. Give this to the Xfinity Series if you want to bring this track back, because this race was just abysmal. It was not good, and it was one of the most boring races. I think live pit stops need to happen going forward if we're going to come back here. I think having non-competitive pit stops for the Truck Series, that's a really, really bad decision, because it ruins a lot of the competitiveness. And there's a certain part of the track where there's like a corner they can cut into. They probably should have used that part of the track instead of just going up that bend around turn 5 or turn number 6. I just think today's race is really bad. My score of today's Truck Series race is going to be one of the lowest scores I ever put on this channel. My score of this race is going to be a 2.5 out of 10. It was that bad, one of the worst races I've ever seen in truck competition. Before I go, let's talk about Fox. Good God Almighty, Fox Sports did not help with this race at all. This is one of the worst broadcasts I've ever seen. We go from watching CW broadcasts and Amazon Prime broadcasts that have been unbelievable and fantastic. Then you go to Fox and their truck broadcast. They had Mike Joy not calling this race, by the way. No, they had him in the infield for 4 or 5 seconds, and he might have been enjoying it as a fan today, but he should have been in the booth calling this race. Jamie Little, I've said this so many times, she is an unbelievable pit reporter. She is not a good lead commentator, and Michael Waltrip needs to go. Michael Waltrip is so bad. He doesn't know what's going on. They didn't know what was going on throughout this race. They didn't even mention that Brent Cruz went off course and lost a ton of positions in the event. They did not mention that they were not going back green because there was oil on the racetrack. They just didn't mention anything mostly about the playoffs or the end of the event. It just seems like Fox doesn't care. And it doesn't help that these broadcasts have been atrocious and abysmal for Fox so far this year. They have been unbelievably awful and terrible so far in 2025. So, that is going to be it for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series race review from Lime Rock. I want to thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe to the channel, notifications on, so if I win a video, it does go live on my channel. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and support me on Patreon as well. List description below that, and comment your thoughts below on today's race. What are your thoughts on today's race? Let me know below. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and congratulate Corey Heim on dominating and winning. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. In a couple hours from now, you're going to see the NASCAR Cup Series race review from Atlanta Motor Speedway. God hope that race is better than this one, because this race was atrocious today. Then tomorrow we're going to have the 2026 NASCAR silly season predictions, or if the weather comes into play and this race gets postponed to Monday, Sunday, then we probably will do the silly season predictions on Monday and change the schedule up as we head to Chicago. We got a lot of content coming out, people like Haley Deegan, Shane Van Gisbergen, Cards, Kurt Busch, Kyle Busch, Bo Wallace, Ross Chastain, Sheldon Creed, Sam Mayer, Cletus McFarland, Dodge, Ram, Frankie Muniz, Matt DiBenedetto, Carla, all the good stuff, Chase Elliott, Kyle Larson, Ryan Preece, and name it. We'll talk about all this stuff on the channel in the coming days and weeks, along with Connor Zilic. So anyways, like I said, I want to thank you guys for watching today's episode, and I'll see you guys next time for more great, awesome NASCAR content, other motorsports content on the channel like this. Take care, everybody.